if you just had that $5 million life insurance policy, that $5 million would have been added to the tax bill. So then you would have been $6 million over. So if you're looking at it being $6 million over, that's about 40% of $6 million. That's going to be your estate tax bill. Hi, Jeff Mersace, the Plain English Attorney, and today we are going to tackle the topic of irrevocable life insurance trusts and how they actually work. I've been working with irrevocable life insurance trusts, often just simply called ILITs, for many, many years now, and it tends to become a little more popular when, for whatever reason, the economy's going well, but the estate tax limits are relatively smaller. Right now, currently, the estate tax limits are about $13 million per person, but look, that's going to get chopped in half a couple of years. It's the way the estate taxes are laid out. It's basically $5 million per person in 2012 dollars, but it's indexed to go up. And then around, I believe it was 2019, we ended up with this doubling of those estate tax exemptions. So, okay, it jumps to twice that much. But that doubling goes away in a few years. So when that does go away, suddenly if we have a lot of growth, and we've had a significant amount of growth recently, coupled with that getting cut in half, there may be more and more people who are going to end up in an area where they're potentially subject to estate taxes when they pass on. And so they want to find a way to avoid it. And an irrevocable life insurance trust tends to be a very easy way to add money to an estate or to potentially pay for your estate tax bill without the life insurance actually increasing the problem by making it part of your taxable estate. So in other words, what we're doing is we're adding money through life insurance without actually increasing the value of the estate. If you think it's important for educational videos like this to get out there, then please help us out by subscribing to the channel. So we're going to go through exactly how that works out. So we got a couple of slides here. We have, let's just say we're doing a revocable living trust. Now let me come back here for a second. If we're planning for an irrevocable life insurance trust because you're potentially in an area for estate taxes, this really seems to be a reason. Well, there's really not much of a reason to stay in probate if you can avoid that. Look, probate generally eats up 4 to 10% of an estate. It's time consuming, frustrating. It's just a process that if you can avoid it, great. So what we're doing is we're doing this in conjunction with the revocable living trust, because if we're assuming if you have enough money where you're even worried about potential estate taxes, then avoiding the, quote, tax of probate administration is something you're going to want to do anyway. So let's get back into it. So we're doing this estate with a revocable trust. So we have the revocable living trust, and it's got its beneficiaries. And now we're talking about increasing the money that's going to be available in your estate to even potentially pay for estate taxes. But we're doing it in a way that keeps the insurance payout off the table. It's not going to be added to your taxable estate. So we have this irrevocable life insurance trust, and it has its beneficiaries that are listed. So we've got those two entities set up. And now I think this is a good point to talk about a couple of myths. First, I hear this all the time. It's a sales piece that's mostly true. Oh, when you have life insurance, it's not taxable when you pay it out. Okay. It's not income taxable. But if you're the person who owns that life insurance policy, those proceeds are added to your gross estate for estate tax purposes. So that life insurance could very easily put you over the top, and now you're looking at something like a 40% estate tax for everything above whatever that taxable limit is. Like I said, right now it's 13 million. It could go down significantly in the future, but that life insurance would be adding to that particular problem. All right, so let's get back to the slides and see if we get these things set up. You are, for your revocable trust, you're the trustor. You're setting up the trust. You're the trustee. You're the person running the trust. You're the first level beneficiary, so this is for your benefit. Well, now with an irrevocable life insurance trust, yeah, you're the trustor setting up the trust, but you cannot be the trustee. Neither can a spouse, and not a child either. It's got to be somebody who's not, quote, subservient to you in any way or subordinate to you in any way. It can't be an employee. Can't be somebody you have significant control over their life. There's very specific rules about it. But let's say, all right, if you're going to use like a cousin or a family friend, all right, that's going to be fine. But you cannot be the trustee, and you're not the beneficiary of this trust even during your lifetime. So that's a big significant difference. The revocable trust is your estate planning tool that you can update and change over time. You're the trustee. You're in charge of all the assets that are in this. We're trying to get the life insurance completely off the table for estate taxes, which means you're not going to control it. So by not having control over it, you got to have a different trustee. This has to be an irrevocable trust. And you've got to have beneficiaries other than you in order for this to work. So now, what about this life insurance policy? Let's just say that you have we'll use some smaller numbers. Let's just say the estate tax limit, for whatever reason, it drops to $3 million a person. And oh my gosh, we're already getting close to $6 million. We've got life insurance. We want it to be in the trust, but how is it getting into the trust? This is where it can be done one of two ways. So the first way is you've got a life insurance policy already. It's what's causing the potential tax problem. You can transfer ownership into the irrevocable life insurance trust. Now, you've transferred it. You've, quote, gifted it into that trust and gotten it off your balance sheet as long as you live more than 3 more years. Because any life insurance policy that's given away, the proceeds get added to your gross estate, your taxable estate, if you die within the 3-year period. So there's kind of like a 3-year look back period for it to be free and clear. So, okay, well, wait a minute. We never know what's going to happen in life. We're never certain when we're going to pass on. If we move that life insurance policy into the irrevocable life insurance trust, you just got to outlive it by 3 years. Well, is there another way? Yeah. The second way is, instead of moving the existing policy in, you're going to start a brand new life insurance policy, and you're going to gift the premiums to get it started. So some of the factors that you have to look at here, though, it's transferring in an existing policy or starting a new one. All right, do you have the same health? Is there going to be a significant health decline that would affect your ability to get a new life insurance policy? Would the premiums be so much greater that you don't want to do it at that point? Is it worth the potential 3 years of vulnerability that the entire payout of that could end up back as part of your estate? You have to weigh these factors and see if just starting a new policy makes sense. If it's roughly the same, you're better off avoiding that potential disaster if something happens to you within the next 3 years by starting a new policy within the trust. And the way that happens is you're gifting the premiums into the trust, and we'll get into a process that has to happen for each time money goes into the trust from you. The trustee is the one who can apply for the life insurance on behalf of the Irrevocable Life Insurance Trust. The Irrevocable Life Insurance Trust is going to be the beneficiary, and your beneficiaries named within the Irrevocable Life Insurance Trust are the ones who are eventually going to get that money. So that's how that's set up. Let's move on to the next thing. So you've got the policy, one way or the other, it's in the trust. So now you've moved the money or you've moved a contract. But now the next step, every time money comes into the trust, there has to be a sign off by the beneficiaries that they are not taking the money. They don't want it. So this is kind of a key, and it's called a crummy letter based on the case. It was Crummy versus the commissioner. It was to keep the proceeds of this life insurance trust from being part of the taxable estate of the person who passed on. And what they were doing were gifting the premiums into the trust. But the beneficiaries had to have an opportunity in order to say, no, I want to take the money instead. Essentially, what these crummy letters are doing is the money goes in, the trustee sends a letter to the beneficiary, hey, we just got more money into the trust. You, under the terms of the trust, you're allowed to take this money out, but if not, we can leave it in there and we're going to, quote, invest it. Well, what they're investing it into is the premiums for the life insurance policy. So the beneficiary signs off, no, I don't want it. And then they send it back to the trustee and they get from all the beneficiaries, okay, we're paying the premiums on the life insurance. This is all really done with everybody understanding what's going on. So if there are 4 kids who are the beneficiaries, they're all adults. Hey, here's this $5 million policy inside this irrevocable life insurance trust, and these premiums are going in. It's going to be $40,000 per year. Okay, each one of you has the opportunity to pull out $10,000, but if you do, the $5 million policy is going to blow up. We can't do it. So you make your decision. Do you want your 1/4 of $5 million down the road, or do you want that $10,000 now? And everybody's told, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't take it. Sign the letter and send it back and just let the policy stay in effect inside that irrevocable life insurance trust. So that's where the money is, quote, invested into that life insurance policy each time a premium payment is made. So this process has to happen each time a premium payment is made. So should these be annual payments or should these be monthly payments? Annual. You really don't want to put your trustee in the position of having every single month having to get this paperwork done. So if you're planning on using an irrevocable life insurance trust, you should be planning to send in the premium payment to the trust, the money that would be used for the premiums, into the trust probably about 2 months before it's due. So this way, the trustee has the ability to get the letters, send them out, and get them back within plenty of time to actually make that premium payment. But it's only happening once a year. I almost had a heart attack when one of my clients actually said to the person they got as a trustee, it was a friend and a neighbor, oh, and you can do this monthly. No, you do not want to do this monthly. Do you really want 12 times the paperwork? No. You do it once a year. And so now this policy is funded. So annually, you're putting in that money, and those crummy letters have to happen, and the beneficiaries sign off on it. And then, okay, the person passes on, and now we're talking about an estate. So what happens here? So the person's passed on, the money from the life insurance policy goes into the irrevocable life insurance trust. And assuming it was started within the trust or you've outlived that 5 years, okay, $5 million goes into that irrevocable life insurance trust. And it's not subject to any estate taxes because it was the trust that owned it, not you. Okay, so now here you've got your revocable living trust. Anything in that is subject to estate taxes because you had effective ownership and control, even if it was through the revocable trust. So that's subject to estate taxes. So let's say that, okay, you actually did well in the markets in the last couple of years. So you've got stocks, it pushed you over the limit. You don't want to end up you don't want to liquidate the stocks, but so you were $1 million over. There's $400,000 that's due in estate taxes, but it's just in stock and real estate and other stuff that the trustee of your revocable trust is saying, no, we don't want to touch that and liquidate that if we don't have to. What are we going to do to actually pay that estate tax bill? Well, here's where that money comes in for the irrevocable life insurance trust. And it's why we often hear, oh, yes, you can get this irrevocable life insurance trust and you have this life insurance policy to, quote, help pay the taxes. Well, how do you pay the taxes? Well, we're going to assume in this that you've got the same beneficiaries. So we use the example, it's 4 kids. All right, if it's 4 kids are the beneficiary of your revocable trust, the same 4 kids are the beneficiary of the irrevocable life insurance trust. But your revocable trust is the entity that's going to be on the hook for paying that $400,000 in estate taxes, but it's got the stock in the real estate. Well, that's okay. Let's go back to the chart here, to the graphic. The life insurance trust, the irrevocable life insurance trust, will buy $400,000 worth of stock. So now the revocable trust has the $400,000 in cash to pay the tax bill, and it received the $400,000 in stock. So now in that irrevocable life insurance trust, we have $4,600,000 in cash from the life insurance policy payout and $400,000 worth of stock going to the 4 beneficiaries. And on the other side, we have all of the other stock in the real estate, but that $400,000 in cash has been used to pay those estate taxes. It still goes down to the same 4 beneficiaries. So everything is still going to the same beneficiaries. It's just they use the money from the irrevocable life insurance trust to buy the stocks from the revocable trust in order to pay those estate taxes. Without now that, if you just had that $5 million life insurance policy, that $5 million would have been added to the tax bill. So then you would have been $6 million over. So if you're looking at it being $6 million over, that's about 40% of $6 million. That's going to be your estate tax bill. You're going to end up with significantly less than if you had the life insurance policy inside an irrevocable life insurance trust. So that's how it works. So I hope you found that information on irrevocable life insurance trusts useful. There's a lot of other good videos out there and good materials on that. So please let us know. Put into the comments if you've got any questions on irrevocable life insurance trusts. I'm sure there are plenty out there. Now, as I always tell my clients, please stay safe, plan ahead, and enjoy life. And whatever you do, make it a great day.